Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello and welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast. I'm your host S. Ranendra Singh, and today we are going to talk about luxury cars market and how Mercedes-Benz India is driving the demand for electric luxury cars in its portfolio. The company has recently launched its smallest EV, the EQA, a 5-seater electric SUV in the Indian market, priced at Rs 66 lakh ex-showroom, which is one of the most affordable EVs in the luxury segment. This is its fourth electric car in the Indian market after EQB, EQE SUV and EQS sedan. Mercedes-Benz India, which is the number one luxury car maker in the country, recorded its highest ever sales in the first half of this year, selling 9,262 units, which is a growth of 9% year-on-year as compared with 8,528 units in H1 of 2023. Out of this total sales in the first half of this calendar year, the battery electric vehicle or BEV portfolio grew by 60%, comprising 5% of the total sales volumes as per the company. Going forward, the company aims to launch 2 more products in its battery electric vehicle portfolio to become 6 models by end of 2024 calendar year. To give more details, we have Santosh Iyer, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mercedes-Benz India, who can not only talk about Mercedes-Benz India, but also the whole luxury cars market in India, expectations from the union budget, which is scheduled in the next few days, and also what the whole EV industry should do to attract more customers. So let's start with the conversations. Welcome, Santosh. Tell me about the EQA to start with the conversation.
So I think Mercedes-Benz was the first to introduce battery electric vehicles in the luxury segment in India way back in 2020 with the EQC. And subsequently, we also launched the first made in India luxury EV with the EQS, which we are locally producing it in Pune. And last year, we introduced the EQB. So now we have 3 electric cars in the portfolio. Having said that, we wanted to introduce EQA, which would be the first time there is a car around the 70 lakh price point. And here, I think we are clear that we need to firstly equip the car with all the necessary features for a luxury car. For example, right from memory seats to bumper surround sound system to ambient lighting. So no compromises in the configuration. But more, when you look at EVs, the transition needs a bit more conviction for customers. So we are also assuring a residual value guarantee when it comes to an EQA, and that too at a very high 67% at the end of 4 years. What this means is a customer can enjoy an EQA for 4 years by just paying for the 33% of the price of the car, and the balance 67% we are undertaking to buy it back at the end of 4 years. So I think there are a lot of innovation done, not just in terms of product configuration or equipment level, but also how can the ownership be made easier? How can we remove customer anxiety when it comes to topics like residual value? When it comes to range, again, we selected the 250 plus motor because this gives a close to 560 kilometer range, which I think anything more than 500 in real world driving is actually a practical purpose. You don't need to charge the car every day and it becomes more practical. So we have taken care of the package in terms of range, equipment, also financing options, and also by taking care of the long-term apprehensions of owning an EV.
So, and what about the customer that you're targeting at? What kind of customers are coming in to buy the EVs now? I mean, are they younger in the category?
So, to be very honest, EV, there is one set of purist EV customers. They are very much decided. Most of them, some of them have worked in the US and in other markets, and they have been driving EVs as well. So, when they come back to India, they want to continue EV. But that's still lesser number of people. What happens is customers come to our outlets asking for combustion engine cars. Our sales guys also give them EV as an option. Then one of the things that actually attracts them is total cost of ownership, because of course maintenance cost or running costs are significantly lower. And then there needs to be a bit of conviction. When I look at the EQA target customer, we feel surely young active families, but more importantly today there is a growing trend of trying to purchase even your grocery from sustainable resources, or this concept of healthy living, organic food. And kids are playing a major influence. So, they want them to be dropped in an EV to a school, or not maybe in a conventional combustion engine car. So these are things which differentiates an EQA customer maybe from a GLA customer. Also, they want to stand out. The green number plate helps them to stand out. So it's not only the badge on the car, but also the way you can drive across. So these are surely clear benefits of owning. And so I think with double income families, there is a lot of big aspiration for Indian customers to buy Mercedes Benz, get into the world of luxury as such, and that only gets accelerated with products like EQA.
Mhm. So, are these like existing Mercedes customers, or are they also new?
For existing customers, will surely buy them as an additional car in the family, mostly for the city run, as well as for as I said, dropping kids to school, etc. But we still feel that EQA, 60% of them would be more than first-time buyers and entering the luxury segment. And why not enter it with an EV rather than with a traditional combustion engine platform?
And when it comes to pricing, sorry, when it comes to pricing, what are the price gap that you are building up now? Because others are like thinking there shouldn't be any much gap between the ICE engine and the EV.
So I can say today that at this stage we have to announce a price, but our effort will be to see how close we can come to the on-road price of the GLA. The GLA on-road price today is 61, 62 lakhs. Frankly, after all the registration taxes, and in 60-70% of the markets like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, we have zero road tax. So if you are able to bring the on-road price of the EQA as close, of course EQA will be more expensive compared to GLA considering the product substance, but that would be our ambition, and surely we will do our best to come as close as possible.
Now, coming to the industry, what is the trend that is going on right now? And because we had a very huge base last year, what is your comment on the trend right now? What the sales look like?
I think we have seen a very good H1. Of course, we just closed it, couple of hours back, or last 24 hours back now. But it looks good. Definitely, quarter two, we could, as anticipated due to elections, also summers being so strong, we could see some dip in demand. But I would say the full year outlook still continues to be having a double-digit growth for us, and we should be on track considering the huge base that we had last year as well.
Affordability was the question for electric luxury cars, but with the price tag of rupees 66 lakh for the EQA Plus, that seems to attract many first-time luxury EV buyers now, Santosh. What's your expectations on that front?
Well, to be honest, at rupees 66 lakhs, I cannot call the car as affordable, but surely when you compare the on-road price of our current SUVs, the GLA, which comes up to close to 60 lakhs, this surely comes in a step up, but and close to that bracket. But the biggest advantage of EVs is the total cost of ownership. And many customers who come into luxury segment, for them, the TCO of an EV is significantly low considering the cost of charging. I can say the cost of fuel is just 1/3 to the cost of a combustion engine car. And then, of course, when you also add that with the benefits of depreciation as well as other advantages on EV like maintenance costs, which are significantly lower compared to combustion engine cars, it really gives a much better peace of mind for many customers who get into the luxury segment. So I think EQA should definitely appeal to them. Apart from that, also for the luxury dwellers who have been thinking that yes, I need an EV, maybe let me start with an EQA and then use it with and then later on shift completely to electric. So it will cater to both the segment of buyers.
The launches of the all-new EQB 350 4M and EQB 250 Plus were a surprise, and they are also priced below rupees 80 lakh. But you also said deliveries will happen from January only, Santosh. Why is that?
EQB, there has been a global facelift of the EQB, and therefore, when we decided to get the new facelifted EQB to India, we also spoke to a lot of customers. They love the car, but maybe they don't need the seven-seater option, and they had a requirement for more range. Whereas some of the other customers also said that, yeah, they also need more power. So therefore, we came up with two configurations: a 350 motor 4MATIC, which has a 5-seater, AMG line fully spec'd at 77.5, and of course the EQB 250 7-seater at 70.9. So this makes the customer easier to choose based on their need state. Large families, occasional drives, they can go for the seven seater, but if they love to enjoy driving their cars and they don't need the seven seats, then I think the EQB 350 is a perfect fit. The only reason the 250 is available from Jan is the availability on these cars. The EQA has been the best selling car globally. The EQB also is in high demand. So basically, for us to get the first set of allocations, it will be Jan. But we have started to take the bookings. Customers can book, and we will deliver the car as early as possible.
And on the schemes that government have, what kind of benefits do you see from the government? Are you looking at any small vehicle which can come in the electric form?
Not really, actually, because we are a global company with global portfolio. The smallest EV that we have in our portfolio is the EQA, which is already here. Even though we say small, it's more than 4.2 meters. It's a large car because we feel for sure not to compromise. A customer buys a Mercedes Benz, therefore our DNA will not allow us to strip down. As I said, I could have taken out a Burmester surround sound system in this car or a memory seat in this car, bring down the price by a couple of lakhs. But I think there's a pride of owning a Mercedes Benz when you buy this car first time, and we want no compromises. Therefore, the configuration will not be compromised, though the price may be a bit more higher. But I think that's been our philosophy. And if you see, therefore, we may not be as active in our entry segment because we cater to only the purists there. But in the core and in the top end, we have a clear dominating share because that's what a real luxury customer would demand from us. So we won't compromise at any stage bringing any other cars.
The budget is also down the line in the next few days. So what kind of expectations do you have from the industry per se also?
I think one of the reasons for our growth in the last couple of years has been the growth in road infrastructure. A lot of intracity travel has increased thanks to the fantastic roads that has come up. With that, people want safer cars, people want more comfortable cars, people want more efficient cars, and this is where Mercedes-Benz growth really, one of the major factor for our growth in the last couple of months and years. This is something that we are keenly looking forward in the budget because we feel that the capital expenditure should only increase on these and not at any stage remain same or come down because that's the risk we may see with the current government. But I think if you go by the announcements, we feel it should continue. That's one. The second, when it comes to electrification, we are aware that the taxation is outside of the budget scope, but a clear statement of intent that these, the 5% GST and these taxes will continue for the next 8 to 10 years so that brands like us and others can all make long-term EV plans because one thing is clear, the customer is not ready to pay a significant premium yet for a EV. So this can only be achieved if the taxation continues the way it is, and we are then able to invest more and more for electrification.
Right. But the government has also the electric mobility new policy which had come, but there was no, in the sense, benefits for the electric car owners or buyers. What do you think of that? Do you think government should do something from the FAME scheme which is coming up again, FAME 3?
For luxury brands, we never, at least Mercedes-Benz never participated in FAME 1 and 2 as well. So it may not be as relevant because I think there are some benefits offered there, but it's not substantial. I feel, however, there is a big step by state governments on recycling. There are many states which are offering 25 to 30%, 50% rebate on road tax for cars which are recycled. There we have already announced that from Mercedes-Benz India, we will support with additional 25,000 rupees for any car which is recycled. So for a customer, actually, he can get a 7 to 8% advantage on the on-road price of the car if they are recycling their 15-year-old cars as such or any other car line. Right. But when it comes to FAME and other policies, it may not be as much to the luxury segment as much to the mass market in terms of benefits because of the low, I would say, per car benefit that's associated with these policies.
Do you think government should do something on the charging infrastructure also, in the sense they should get some benefits?
It's a stakeholder responsibility, and I feel that there was one time where OEMs used to look at to the government. But I think it's a collective responsibility. We also need to do a lot with some of the CPO, charge point operators, and ourselves as well in trying to plug in, because this story is about the so-called chicken and egg kind of a story. So if you believe as a brand that we need to now take this leap of faith, all of us need to invest. We need to open it up. For us, we have opened our charging to all brands, and I think this is the way to go with collectively bringing up the infrastructure. From the government side, I think they have already mandated all the PSU oil companies to start up charging infrastructure, because I think the locations are very strategically placed, and that takes away the anxiety also of customers. But more and more, I think what the need of the hour will be interoperability of chargers with common, I would say, charging solution apps, etc. Here, of course, there is a scope for public-private partnership where we can actually set up this kind of an infrastructure.
Right. Mercedes had a very successful run on Retail of the Future. So, what else are you doing to, bring in more customers to your showrooms, and what kind of other marketing?
So, if you see, we said that we need to differentiate ourselves as much as possible in the market because luxury is also about differentiation. And here, when it comes to sales model, we did the direct to consumer, wherein we took out all the stock push to dealers so that dealers are focused on selling the product and not the discount. Discounts are there, but they are all standard, uniform, no bargaining. So I think we have come a long way, close to, I would say, 45,000 cars we have sold under this model. Right. Now, also the focus continues to be on customer service, because there we felt that there is still a scope for, changing the bar there. We said that one of the biggest challenge that our customers face is when if the car is in our workshop for an extended period, because these cars not only affect mobility, but it's also they drive it with a lot of pride. Right. So we said that let's try to come up with a program. We call it Mobility to Delight. Here in Mobility to Delight, we will assure every customer that if the car is in the workshop for more than 3 days, and it can be for multiple reasons, diagnosis, for example, some of these cars have software, it takes time to diagnose, or parts availability, also the load in the workshop, we will commit to an alternate Mercedes-Benz courtesy car, no questions asked for the customer. So they don't need to be out of a Mercedes-Benz for their normal repairs. We will take care of their mobility with an alternative Mercedes-Benz from our side. It's a huge investment from our side, because we need to now have so many cars in our dealer network. We need to ensure that they are seamlessly provided to customers. But I think this is the next big jump that we are taking when it comes to customer experience.
Right. So, and to end with, how many products are you planned for this year now, rest of the month?
So, we started the year announcing 12 new product launches for the year. 6 of them we have already done. 6 are pending, out of which EQA is the first one in H2, I would say. We have also said that there will be 2 more EVs coming up after this one. And then, of course, I think it's an open secret that our long wheelbase E-Class, which is the best-selling and the most loved car in the luxury segment, will also make its debut by end of the year in India. So I think 6 more cars to go, that we are still committed to the 12 product launches that we announced at start of the year.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Santosh.
Thank you. Thanks for joining.